Whenever you're ready.
Here with
Oh, good. Okay, awesome. I'm gonna do the thing. This brings me a lot of joy. Awesome. So, working both committees. So I'm Sue Anderbaugh, Chair of the North Main Street Task Force, bringing our regular meeting to order for February 11th. It is now 5:33. Would you mind please calling the roll?
Chair Anderbaugh.
I'm present.
Vice Chair Pagagian.
Present.
Lieutenant Brown.
Present.
Marissa Lopes is absent. Peter Camara.
Here.
Thomas Badway is not here. Sarah Engel is absent. Jessica Lance. Here. Nate Urso.
Here.
Sean Raymond.
Here.
Rosie Jaswell. Here. We have 8 present and 3 absent. We have a quorum.
Awesome. One thing that I like to do for these meetings, which you might remember, is for us to go around and say our names, because a few people have flagged that they do watch these online, which is great. Thank you for watching these online, but they can't read our name tags from afar. So if we could just say our names around the circle and our affiliation, that would be awesome. So I'm Sue Anderbaugh. I'm the Ward 3 Council member and chair of this task force. Why don't we go to the left?
Bill Brown, Providence, PD.
Sean Raymond, right off the safety.
Jess Lance, Planning and Development.
This is Archana Romanacham. I'm a resident of the neighborhood.
Leonella Felix, legal counsel.
Peter Cameron from the Sandwich Hut.
Kyle Lavelle, City Council.
Chris Ecopaldi, assistant clerk.
Adriana Costa, Clerk Liaison.
Nate Urso, Providence DPW Traffic Engineering.
I am Rosie Jaswell. I'm the Green and Complete Streets Advisory Council representative.
Jimmy Pagan, I'm the vice chair of the task force and representing Providence Streets Coalition.
Awesome, thank you. I also want to acknowledge, and everyone just introduce themselves, but welcome to the committee. Yay, we're so glad you're here. And also acknowledge Claire, our lovely clerk who's been with us the whole time, has retired. And I really miss her so much. And also I'm so excited to have new folks joining us. So just wanted to acknowledge Claire and her many years of service with the city. And she retired at the end of the calendar year, so we already missed her. Hello. Whenever you're ready, you let me know. Like, just
Is there a perfect time? Or?
no, whenever you come is the perfect time.
Okay.
We're gonna have a guest appearance by Councilman Councilman Royce and Councilman Peterson.
Perfect.
That'd
Okay.
be great. Whenever you guys are ready, just come in.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So quick rundown on the agenda. We're gonna discuss new task force member, yay. We're gonna talk about some updates, some progress updates, particularly around lighting, and close out of that, any RSA updates from Mr. Raymond, and then just a quick update on some longer-term planning processes, a year review, state legislative updates, and then a discussion about Branch Avenue. That is what Councilwoman Peterson and Councilman Royce will join us for, so we might end up taking the agenda a little bit out of order, so I'll just ask for that. There's another committee happening at the exact same time right now that they are both on, so when they have some time to pop out, they're gonna come in. That was unintentional double scheduling, but there's only so many nights in the week, so here we are. Can we please read item number 1 into the agenda? Into the record?
Discussion and vote accepting the resignation of task force member Rachel Peterson.
Awesome. So Rachel had to resign from the task force because she's moved. And she didn't submit a letter of resignation, which normally we could just accept. But we talked with Claire, talked with legal, so I'm looking at Leo just in case. And we can still accept her resignation, but we have to do it via a vote of this committee before we can add a new member. So can I please have a motion to accept the resignation of Rachel Peterson?
Motion to accept the resignation of Rachel Peterson.
Do I have a second? Excellent. All in favor? Any opposed? Ayes have it. Rachel has been removed from the task force. We are going to welcome, and we have to do this via putting her on the council agenda, is what I'm told. So it'll be on our next council agenda. Kyle can help me remember that.
We're at 6.
Yeah, you can come anytime. We'll move you around.
We're about to start. If you text me when you're at 5.
Yes.
No.
Perfect. You're amazing. Okay. Archana will be joining us as our neighborhood representative on the task force, so thank you for being willing to do so. And I've invited her to join today, even though she can't, it's not a voting member yet, but we'll add her via an update from to the council, which is just the formal thing we have to go through. Cool. Can we please read item 2 into the agenda, or into the record, sorry, my brain.
Lighting and other progress updates.
Awesome. Kyle, do you want to give the update on lighting?
Yes, Chairwoman and members of the North Main Street Task Force. As you guys know, last year we undertook a lighting project that started off from a recommendation from the RSA as a short-term immediate actionable plan. Councilwoman Amber and I worked internally to help secure a good investment, and we worked in great partnership with RIDA, with Rhode Island Energy, our contractor, Prism, Public Property. Again, I want to thank all of our partners who really helped streamline that process. As of February 2026, that project is complete, based on the budget that we were able to work with. So we executed, again, along the North Burial Ground, the southbound side of it, north of that towards the Pawtucket line with various overhead replacements, and then the University Marketplace Island with the decorative lights, which I think have having a transformational impact over there. It really brightens up the area, and added a nice aesthetic over there. But for all intents and purposes for that specific project with that budget, we are closed out. We have some punch list items to do in the spring when the snow clears and the soil kind of softens. Some of the machines that were meeting was a bit impactful to the green space there. So we want to work with the Parks Department and Forestry to help restore any potential impacts that I had on the trees over there or whatnot. So we will work internally with that. And Prism had some slight punch list items to do. But besides that, once those punch list items happen, we'll be fully invoiced and we will have a full project program.
Thank you for all of that, Kyle. That was amazing. And if you guys haven't seen the new pedestrian level lights by the Whole Foods area, I think they look awesome.
They're amazing. I was just noticing them the other day, not for the first time. They really are transformative.
So thank you guys all for like that input and like really highlighting the lighting as a big issue in that area and a big, just like, as always, super big high five to Kyle for navigating all the things needed in navigating to get there.
I give a lot of credit to our partners. I think they really made things helpful and easy. The communication was pretty streamlined for like the complex owners of the area. And again, I'm keeping my eyes on any available funding that we can help scoop for what I feel like is a next phase of the side streets. I've been very open about wanting to do that as a next phase. Right now, we don't have the resources to do it, but I'm keeping my eyes open, and if we can come up on any grant funding or anything of the like externally, I would be happy to jump on that and make that the next phase. So that is all.
Do folks have any questions for Kyle about the closeout and lighting? Or anything to add?
Not just, I assume, this project, it doesn't account for everything, like, the other areas that you want to address or we'd want to address. So I think, maybe we can meet offline and kind of discuss areas that you need to get addressed in, or, maybe potential funding opportunities.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
If the state level can help with, because I think the lighting is such a huge improvement. I think it's very impactful, making a big difference. You won't know, but I'm sure it is. And appreciate your work on that.
And I've already heard from a few of the business owners toward the southern part of North Main, near the Whole Foods, not the Whole Foods owners, but other folks in the area who highlighted that they've noticed a difference. Just to share so folks know, and I think I shared this with you, Sean, but I had a constituent reach out a few days after the lighting was finally turned on. I'm so excited when it was finally turned on. Kyle knows I was like texting one Saturday night at 8 p.m. like, it's on. Sorry. Poor Kyle, it's a quick lot. But a constituent texted to let me know that they were driving down North Main and the man kind of wandered into the street and everybody stopped, and she texted me to be like, we saw him. Like, we wouldn't have seen him otherwise, but everybody saw him and they stopped and they helped him get across. And that's like a lot of provisions here is we can't prevent that there was a man who kind of stumbled into the street, but we can make sure that he's safe. So people stopped, he got back safely, and she was like, anyway, so I just felt like, I'm so glad that wasn't a different kind of call, which it very much could have been, and so I want to just keep that work going forward. Cool. As part of other progress updates, I wanted to share two other things, and we can turn it into any updates from Sean for the RSA, but two quick things, or three quick things. One, Kyle and I have also been talking with, Ted Carr, who's the Director of Economic Development for the city, and he's open to coming to future meetings of the task force. He thought about coming tonight, but there wasn't anything on the agenda specifically for
He
him.
may be on the Zoom.
Oh, is he on the Zoom?
Yeah, he planned on attending remotely, I'm not sure if he knows.
Okay, when Darius comes back, we can see if he's on the Zoom.
Yeah.
Darius does all of our IT and is double duty tonight with both of the meetings. But there wasn't anything specific on the agenda, but when we came together as a task force, it was both about safety, but also the larger economic development along the street. And so we're bringing Ted in as well to advise on if there are any things in particular that he can offer or that the city can be working to develop to help folks along the street. And would welcome maybe that could be a future meeting topic with some of the business owners, or we can follow up with Peter. The second thing is related, I'm finally, oh my gosh, in conversation with the folks who own 1120 North Main, which is the vacant lot across from the parlor. So really excited about finally figuring out who that was and getting them on the phone. And so we've started that conversation about what it might take to help them realize some development potential for that space. So really excited about that. And last but not least, this will be a future topic, but there is likely to be some public art going up at the Rochambeau Gate for North Barrow Ground, which would be right along North Main, as a way to like welcome folks into the Barrow Ground and the park portion of the Barrow Ground, but like from North Main, and will be like an asset for North Main and make it like meant to help it feel more walkable and like a city asset. So Annalisa from North Barrow Ground will join us at a future meeting to kind of discuss that. But she's been part of that process along with the Department of Arts, Culture, and Tourism. It's one of two sites in the city that are getting some new public art. And she shared with me that the bids have been open. They're working with a number of different artists and who are gonna kind of design things. There will be some sort of selection process that Annalisa is a part of. And she's excited to come share that progress with the task force pretty soon. But it wasn't quite ready for a presentation this time, but she said I would give you a preview that it's underway. And it'll be nice to have something like beautiful get added to North Main right at that area. So those were my updates. Could you please read item 3 into the agenda? Into the record, sorry.
RSA updates, Sean Raymond, RIDOT.
Sean.
Thank you. There's a couple of outstanding items in my shop that I was hoping that would have gotten completed, but are still outstanding, so still trying to get that implemented probably in the springtime. One is the striping improvements that were part of a lot of signage that went up, specific to parking restrictions and things like that, just to kind of coincide with the signage that was put up for added emphasis. The other one was some of the signal timing modifications for the restaurant red and the exclusive PED. With the age of some of the signals, it will take a little bit of time for maintenance crews to get out there. They just keep getting pulled in different other emergencies. So what I'm trying to do is at least pull out the exclusive PED work, so I can have a consultant do that instead, where they don't need to do electrical work to make that happen. So hopefully that gets implemented sooner this winter. So we'll have exclusive PED at all the approved locations that went through State Traffic Commission. And moving on to kind of next steps in my eyes is looking at some additional temporary daylight opportunities. It looks like the only location has been successful so far, and I think I know we were discussing potential grant opportunities for locations along Providence, including possibly North Main Street. So I think that's kind of a good next step, and how that kind of folds into the longer term project and what that may look like. Things that maybe the project manager we want to test out prior to making more permanent improvements, bump outs, things like that. So that's one area I want to kind of focus on. The other, we want to do some additional, I think, traffic counts, pedestrian counts for additional locations for those mid-block crossings. I think we identified potentially 3 as part of the RSA, you know, one between Randall Street and Branch Avenue, one between Branch and Rochambeau, and another one between Rochambeau and Frost slash Third Street. So those are potential locations. I think getting additional count information would help kind of in that, and we would probably have that as part of that project, you know, due to needing ADA ramps, things like that. Then one other area I identified as part of the RSA, I think having conversations with you, Nate, or, you know, the city in terms of, you know, where there is parking allowed, like if it's not being utilized, you know, potentially looking at other options for that space. So I think it's, even though it's on a DOT road, we wanna make sure the businesses aren't potentially impacted but if there's areas that just aren't being used or there's other options for parking.
It'd be good to get a loop of some, there's a parking administrator in the city.
Okay.
Work closely.
So if we can all work together on that, and again, that would coincide with the project as well. Like because ultimately, there's gonna be space, I think.
Yeah.
If we're in areas able to reduce lanes, then you got, it's your parking, bike lane opportunities, you got all these different, and sometimes that's not an easy decision to make, like, all right, what fits, maybe it all fits, maybe some of it is, you know, bus lanes as well, that's another aspect of it, so. That will take coordination, I think, as part of the project process. That's where you bring everybody together, get public meetings to get input from everybody. So I'm you know, happy that the project is moving forward and we're gonna come through to help with some of that, those coordination opportunities.
In terms of Brida, do you know like the utilization of parking on North Main, or would that be part of like what some of these next steps would be to figure out like how much of it is even being utilized?
I think that's you know, usually a study could take place and I think you rely a lot on the municipalities to help with that, because they're the ones that tend to have a closer relationship with the businesses and the behavior that takes place there. So I mean, certainly work together to kind of figure that out, but we would need the city's assistance, certainly.
Maybe like between meetings, but let me know if this doesn't work, maybe we could like have you and Melanie and Lee, obviously I'm working right, but say you're out loud, maybe Ted because of the business element, and like how about like you and Kyle and I to like. move forward, if that
Definitely
makes sense.
coordination with the butters and parking issues.
Yeah, so you know, there's some of the businesses that really rely on parking, and then it seems like there's large stretches where it's pretty open, so.
And future developments, you know, there could be future developments coming in that we're the state not aware of, but you guys are. And plus the hospital too, when they came in. And discussed, so any changes there, we'll keep them in the loop as well.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, so Kyle, if you can help with the follow-up on that, that'd be awesome. Thank you. Any questions or thoughts, or was that, I didn't mean to cut you off.
That's pretty much it. The only, you know, like, did the final version ever go out to everybody? I just wanted, if it hasn't, I will.
Itself was the version 3.
Version 3, okay, so, the final version is ready to go out.
Oh, nice, if you can share that.
Email that out tomorrow, and then we have, the matrix, because there's other, you know, team leads, whether it's the city or RIPTA potentially, and to kind of go from there.
Yeah, and then maybe we can like use the next meeting too to go through like, okay, some of the team leads are not RIDOT, so who's taking up some of these other things that we define.
Right. Or it could be a different team lead, you know, maybe it doesn't make sense for this to lead, but another person.
Yeah, maybe somebody else,
Okay,
Cool.
I'll send that out. Apologize for that.
Oh, no, thank you. Any questions?
I have a few, and you actually addressed a lot of them, so I'll try to make this not too painful. So you talked about restriping, we had talked way back about restriping for narrower lanes for traffic calming. Is that something that's potentially on the table?
Yeah, it wasn't part of that, I guess, work order I was referencing, but we can always certainly do additional ones or whenever the striping crew goes out every 2 years to refresh the stripes. When we do traffic calming on the road, typically, if it's a 12-foot lane, we break down to 11 feet. I don't know offhand what the lanes are out there now, but I'm gonna assume that they're 12s, it feels wide,
yeah.
Feels wide. So
Yeah,
that's an option.
Okay,
for,
you know, anything to make people
oh, yeah.
feel like they should be going slower. A few things that were in the 6-month bucket, in the version 3, I don't know if that's, again, that's, I know that's not the most current. The Cypress Branch intersection, evaluating for removal of the right turn lane in the northbound lane, is that still on the table?
Yes, yeah, nothing off the table, I don't think we fully, I want to see if it was analyzed, HB might have looked at it, the consultant that did the RSA, but if not, we can perform that analysis.
Okay, another thing in the 6-month bucket was a snow removal plan for the median, that's gonna be more DPW though, right? That's not the right eye.
The median,
The meeting is owned by RIDOT, but
Yeah.
controlled by Parks.
right,
So Parks does the maintenance for
Okay.
the median,
you mean the sidewalks,
like the
Yeah,
cross areas.
crossing
Yeah,
sidewalks?
like, and I, you know, one of the reasons I'm bringing this up, I know we're all upset about snow, but I like watched somebody in an electric wheelchair the other day go up the vehicle lane to get from Doyle side to, from the west and east side, because the sidewalk in the median is cleared, so I wanna make sure we have like a plan.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure exactly who this is, I can check with the highway department, yeah, they maintain it, I mean, who
Yeah, they
actually
maintain it in the
plows,
summer.
plows it, or if there's confusion, I don't know.
Yeah, we should check in.
Yeah.
I can check with them.
At the north end of the median, there's a,
At
you're making,
Doyle?
at Doyle, yeah.
Yeah,
That
there were
crossing
actually
wasn't
people
cleared. I'm not sure
shoveling
if they have
that.
in other spots, but,
I saw some people out there shoveling it.
but again, I think we just need to have something formalized so somebody knows it's their job.
Is that the only one?
That's the only one I was driving through, you know, so I can't say that there weren't other proxies.
Yeah, that,
Because they were out the next,
Yeah,
the
that
very
might
next
be-
day, they were out
Yeah.
doing parks with snowboarders and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
that,
We can probably talk.
Yeah, I can just talk to
That may
Ben.
be one spot that just
Yeah,
got
maybe
missed, but you know,
That
it's
may
like the
be-
crosswalk that get into the snowbank, which is
Okay.
not great there.
that may be, because that's not landscape, so I'm not sure parks really,
Yeah,
so it may be an area, North Lane,
yeah, I've
just
asked
the
them at the
island.
meeting before, and I guess there's
It's not-
some
it's not like-
very old MOU where like RIDOT owns it, but Parks like
Yeah.
owns it, but maybe with the snow stuff, it wasn't on the list, cause I know they got folks out
Yeah,
to do the
just-
sidewalk.
There's nobody there, a median, and no one abuts it, so there's,
Yeah, they probably just didn't think of it.
Um,
calling it a medium, but it's really a crosswalk in every medium.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's,
yeah,
it's
there's
that
that
cut up.
Yeah, I'll follow up with Wendy on that, it might just like be that they have landscapers who do the mowing, but hadn't thought of the, I'll follow up.
Okay, thanks. Another thing on the 6-month was assessing for ADA and ProAct compliance and then inventorying wheelchair ramps and other accessible infrastructure. Did that happen?
I don't think, not the inventory of all the ramps that's still outstanding, and part of it will probably be conducted as part of the project.
Okay.
The scope of the project, and any, ramps not in compliance will be updated, or maybe they all will anyways. But we can certainly do the remaining, and at least have that documented.
That's good to know,
they're
like,
lighting
where
or
we have
not.
issues now, I guess, right? Like, if there's stuff we can address in the short term. Okay, I think that's it for my list for now. Yeah. Thanks.
Any other-
If I have a follow-up.
Did you have a question?
Yeah, I had 2 questions. One, I just was wondering whether you could repeat the intersections where you were thinking about daylighting opportunities?
Don't have that.
Or there were 3, the Randall and Branch Rochelle.
Oh, the crosswalks.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, these are
sorry.
mid-block crossings, so potentially between Randall and Branch, between Branch and Rochambeau, and between Rochambeau and Frost,
So there would be more crossings, okay.
mid-block, yes.
And the daylighting, just to clarify, so Dylan and I actually had a really great conversation with Blue RI, Dylan Streets Coalition, and about the potential to apply for more grants from Blue RI, who funded the one at Benefit Street, where we were planters. And shout out to the Streets Coalition for leading on that. And so after that conversation we had with Bloom, we were like, oh wait, RIDOT owns the street, we should make sure that it would be okay to like actually do some of this daylighting on North Main. And so Sean and I had a conversation that like it's feasible and we just need to work together to make sure it was like with materials that RIDOT approves of, and it's, done in a way that we could get approval of, but it wasn't off the table, so that's what we follow up.
sorry. I was gonna quick comment on that, we keep saying daylighting, and also what those planters can do is keep people from making it the now illegal right turn
Yeah,
on
yeah,
red,
yeah.
on the shoulder. So
Yeah.
it's also kind of a barrier to the vehicle movement.
Good point. Rosie?
I was wondering if you had the list handy of where the exclusive phases were approved?
Not handy, but it was, I think all the intersections north of Rochambeau. So I think it's pretty much all of them now except, what am I drawing a blank? Not only, but it's Doyle.
Doyle, yeah.
Unfortunately, you can't do Doyle, it's just a massive
So-
intersection, but,
What do you mean by all in North Main except Doyle?
Is exclusively pedestrian.
we'll make, they haven't been yet, but
But
that was
they've been
approved.
studied in,
They've been studied in the state traffic commission.
even Branch and Cypress? Is there a crosswalk there? Yeah,
I
okay.
think, yeah, which was part of
There's
that.
no crosswalk on the south side of the branch site,
Yeah, it's
versus
just-
would
Yeah,
there be,
I mean, Hope,
would you
not
add a
Branch.
crosswalk there?
no,
Or
Hope
exclusive?
and Cypress.
Wait, we can do one at a time, so
Sorry.
maybe
Oh,
talking, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, he answered my question.
Oh, we answered your
Yes.
question.
Yeah, I'll follow up and make sure, but to answer your question about adding a crosswalk, we could, but it'd probably need rehabilitation, and it'd probably have to be part of the construction project.
Archie, do you want to?
Just one more, to follow up on what Jamie was saying about snow removal. I don't know whether this is sort of under the purview, but you know, a lot of the bus stops right now on the sort of far side, sort of from the hill on North Main, there's just not much plowing on that side at all. Certainly where I live on North Main. So in terms of safety and accessibility, it's just not really working.
Yeah.
So I don't know who is you know, there are obviously businesses along that side, who may be responsible for that sidewalk, but I just, because it's so, the main reason people walk there is to go to bus
Yeah.
stops, it's really like a public way, so I just don't know whether the city or someone else could take some responsibility. Also along the burial ground, I don't know who's responsible there.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
burial ground, the sidewalk is the responsibility of parks. And if that's not done, let me know, because they said they were sending crews out, but I don't know if like with the latest snow, if that didn't happen.
I'm gonna follow up with them as well.
Oh, thank you, Kyle. But for the other RIP, so any sidewalk in front of a business is supposed to be the business. Speaking only as myself, I think we can do a better job enforcing that. And I don't think we enforce that much. But that is the business or the property owners. For RIP stops there, I won't put you on the spot. Is that usually RIPTA, but you just have such a small crew?
If there's a shelter, we have a contract with a firm that comes and clears the shelters. And my understanding is that after the big storm, they actually did shovel out all 300 plus or minus shelters around the state. And the tricky thing is, if they shovel it out and then the plow comes, it fills right up again. So what I don't know is how frequently or like what the, how that gets managed. So that's shelters, and then just stops. Generally, we do rely on the property owners,
To dig those out.
the abutting property owners, and because we have 3,500 stops around the state, and it's just our team is mighty but small. And they are still working pretty hard to make sure that, on a priority basis, things are getting cleared. So that is ongoing for sure. But if there is any particular stop that's a particular problem, feel free to let me know and I can check on the status.
Kyle,
I mean, one or more.
I wonder if there's follow-up that we should be doing with, not Nate's division of DPW, but other DPW to make, or DIS, about like making sure property owners know about that they should be shoveling out the RIPTA stops, because I think beyond just like our property owners shoveling out their sidewalks, I imagine some of them don't know that they should be shoveling out the RIPTA stops, if it's just a stop and not a shelter. So maybe we can follow up with you, can help me remember to follow up on that, that'd be awesome.
We're gonna be working on probably for, I don't know what the forecast is for the remainder of this winter, but we definitely, like, after action wise, wanna do at the start of the season next year, like big-ish
Yeah.
sort of public campaign to let people know that this is an issue and to
Yeah.
really try to like be good neighbors and sort of know what the law is and what our responsibility is. So if that's something that we should touch base with,
Yeah, that'd be
you know,
great.
coordinate with city communications on or something like that.
Yeah.
Be happy
And I would
to.
say like both like the administration's communication, but also the council communication. I'm sure we'd be happy to help push that out. And those are sometimes different channels, so.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. Also, I want to give Sarah a shout out because there was like a rent stop that was reported as someone hit it. There was glass everywhere, and I was like, Sarah, I'm not sure who to report this to, and then Sarah just cleaned it up. So just shout out to Sarah
For my neighbors, I had help. I had a good neighborhood.
showing you that. That's not what I intended when I had to report it. Just like done, and Sarah's amazing. It's just highlighting that. Their small and mighty team involves their executive director of planning going out to shovel.
Well, and I will furthermore add that I was inspired in that partly by you and getting that call, but also I had a coworker. I started working at RIPTA 10 years ago, and my coworker Lily, who now works for RIDA on the planning team there, got her young kids out with their like little kid shovels and shoveled out the shelter near their house.
Nice.
10 years ago in 2015, they probably did it more than once that winter. People gotta do what they can.
Yeah, this is a total aside, but Cambridge did a really cute campaign around removal where it was like if you sent in a picture of yourself as like a young person shoveling, like the city would give you a $15 gift card for like pizza in your neighborhood or something. And so it's just like a really positive, like kids get out there and like use your snow day to shovel. And apparently it was like super successful and like kids got out and had exercise and also got pizza, and we should think about doing that sometime.
I will definitely pass that on
Yeah.
to my team.
I thought that was such a cute idea. This is an aside. Any other RSA updates or questions? Awesome, okay. Can we please read item 4 into the record?
Update on longer term planning processes.
Awesome, so I'm gonna give a super quick update here, which is, for the longer, and this is like all we can really say right now, so I'm just gonna give the update. The longer term STIP, the State Transportation Improvement Funds, that went out to bid, bids have come back, they are being reviewed right now. Because they're being reviewed right now, and also I believe there are bidders in the room here with us, we can't talk about it. But like that process is moving forward, which is very exciting, and the plan all along had been to do the things we can do now while we work on this longer term planning. And so I'm just really excited. There were some really great bids, there were a good number of bids, they've been opened, and that process is moving forward. And hopefully by our next meeting, we might have an update on that next plan going forward in the next process. And from the planning department, I think Rye will be leading that effort. That's probably all to say, right?
Pretty much right now, yeah.
But just as an update that it's happening, silence isn't nothing, it's just things are happening and they can't be discussed in public. And Kyle, are you part of the selection committee?
Yes, I've been moved in, thank you, Jess, and Rye, who was leading the project. I have been sitting in on the interviews, and they are ongoing. So
Yeah.
give me a moment.
So I'm grateful we have Kyle there as well as our friends. Okay, can we please read item 5 into the agenda? I'm gonna text Councilman Reyes to let him know we're moving right along.
State legislative updates.
Excellent. At our last meeting, we had a great conversation about, potential legislative changes coming out of the conversation we had with Elizabeth from the courts. Kyle and I have had several follow-up conversations with Elizabeth, as well as with our own policy team to make recommendations to the General Assembly. And I believe Jamie has also been having some conversations. This is just to say there is follow-up happening from that that work to see like what we can be doing about some of the red light cameras and things like that and better enforcement. I'm not putting you on the spot, 0%, I'm putting you on the spot, but if you did have any updates from the conversations I think you've also been having, you're welcome to share.
I don't have any updates, actually. I think we kind of ran with most of this,
And she is, wearing her solicitor hat right now, so probably can't share, but There's another version of Leo that is not in the room with us, and we will follow up with her when she's not working for the city.
I like that.
Yeah. But there have been conversations and movement, so I just wanted to put that on here as like I know that came off as an action item, and action is moving, is happening and behind the scenes. With a shout out to Elizabeth from the courts, who has been really dogged about following up on this. And just also share, Elizabeth is happy to come back anytime if we have more questions or concerns, and has been doing a lot of really cool work behind the scenes to look at. There are some contracts out now, which we can't really discuss because they're still in process, but for traffic lights, red light cameras and stuff like that, how do we have a vendor who can help us like improve traffic safety and also do cool stuff? So she is a delight and is like, was inspired by this meeting and is continuing to like look at where we should be helpful. And so also like excited to come back at any time. I'm gonna text our colleagues who are gonna come for item 6, so please ignore them looking down. But are there any other, I know that was vague, but I wanted folks to know it wasn't just like silence and silence. Cause I know sometimes it is at city or state meetings, if nothing is said, there's an assumption that nothing's happening, and that's often true. So I wanna make sure, just because we're done, there's no big update, that you don't think nothing has happened. Kyle, would you mind grabbing Justin, just give him like a little look? Councilman Boyce, I mean. Any other questions or comments or things people are excited about for legislation that we want to
Just
bring
a
up?
comment, I'd be excited to have Elizabeth back, as soon as there's something to report on the contractor front.
Yeah.
Love to see us doing more creative things with the camera enforcement.
Nice. I think we should have an update from that by the end of February, so I'll invite her to our next meeting. Yay! Yay!
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Why would you be sorry? You're amazing. Thank you for coming. Can we read item 6 into the agenda, please? Are you to the record? Oh, keep doing that.
Discussion regarding Branch Avenue, invited guests, Councilwoman Peterson and Councilor Wyers.
Excellent. So I'm so excited to be joined by two of my very favorite colleagues, Councilwoman Peterson and Councilman Royas. And we had a great conversation a few weeks ago where they said, hey, there's some progress being made on North Main. Let's do that on Branch. And do you want to help out? And I was like, 100%. So, Branch is a different piece than North Main, but I wanted to invite Councilwoman Peterson and Councilman Royas to come talk with us a little bit about Branch, and I will let them take it away, but I'm happy to help guide the conversation. But I've been really excited for them to come join us and think about how we can leverage this kind of model of folks coming together to also make safety improvements along Branch.
Thank you very, very, very much for this opportunity. We apologize, we're doing double
There's
duty
another
work.
committee.
There's a public hearing going on in the other room, so we're doing both things at once, but I'll speak very briefly because Councilor Royas is much more thorough than I am. And so what I really wanted to say was just, this particular committee has given us an example of what works and how to mobilize and do things that are done efficiently and quickly for the betterment, for the pedestrian safety, for traffic safety. And it is literally the model that Councilor Royas and I have consistently been talking about for the last 3 years about what we need to do to make the improvements on our streets a little bit better. Branch Avenue is a street that we both share, along with you, Councilor.
And also, we're right off of North Main, which is why it's all been here.
That's right.
Yeah, Branch is right off North Main.
That's right, and it goes all the way, extends into, it stops right in Ward 14, and where we've seen the most danger to our pedestrians and our neighbors that are in that area happens to be right in the Ward 14 side. Councilor Royas and I share that one side is Ward 4, one side is Ward 14. And one of the things that the neighbors have consistently been talking to us about, whether it's neighbors from Metcalf Apartments or Homestead Apartments, which is elderly complex, both of them are elderly complexes, right, Councilor Royas? They are.
Yes.
One of the things that they're consistently talking to us about is about pedestrian safety over there. It's no secret to anybody that we had a few fatalities, in the area over the summertime and I believe last year. And part of our commitment to our neighbors on Branch Avenue is to figure out what we can do better quickly and efficiently in a way that will be helpful and obviously immediate to address the concerns. North Main Street, you guys did it. Like, this task force did it. You implemented things that are working out really, really well. And through your work, Councilor Inwa, it has been amazing to watch just the steady quickness of how all of this could, process itself and was done. So we're coming very humbly asking if we could also be a part of this. It's so important to our neighbors down over there. We have a total of 4 elderly complexes in the area, along with the high school right there, and pedestrian safety is probably the #1 concern for all of our neighbors in that particular part of both of our wards. So, again, I'm humbly requesting that you guys would be so willing to do something like this to just kind of allow us to piggyback off of this really great work. And with your support, we'll be able to really see some effective work being done in the Branch Ave side of Providence.
That's all, Councilwoman. Councilman Royce, do you wanna, say anything?
Yeah,
know you
I
also
mean,
shared some
There's,
documents.
what, yeah, definitely, well said. Oh my goodness, why is the sea going down here? Okay.
It's a trick. Oh, yeah, you're really short.
Yeah, what's going on? I don't need to be shorter anymore, right? What's that?
It's a
Oh,
pressure
okay.
tactic, no, I'm just kidding.
Okay. No, I just, Chair, obviously, thank you for leading this work and for this task force. I think I'm being very honest. You all are a model of what could happen when all the stakeholders come together. And I really do see this as a vessel to really, quite frankly, it's like save lives. And so we were, Councilor Pierce and I are coming in sort of maybe desperation to maybe start tackling the low-hanging fruits of sort of pedestrian safety, and we hope that you all can join our fights as well and help us out. There's so much expertise on this task force, and so that's just my larger ask. And I think several months ago, one of my neighbors died due to traffic violence. It was his second time getting hit by a car, and the first time he had said he would be more cautious. He had gone through rehab. And the second time when he was struck by a vehicle in the same area on Branch Ave, being extra cautious did not save his life. And he was a resident of Metcalf's Apartments, which is the other elderly complex. And I will just be honest, after that experience, it was just been my personal mission to make some serious change so that there's not another Michael DeMola, because he deserves to be here today, and I feel like as a city we have certainly failed him. So I think, and I think his family's looking for some immediate change in that section. I have a whole list of priority intersections in the North End. I'm overwhelmed about where to start, but I think if we look to Branch Ave and Olmsted, that intersection, which has been identified in the Safe Streets Plan, and see what we can do, that would give me some hope. And there's already, from what I understand, federal funding, and a lot of the information you have in front of you regarding that, the North End and the priority intersections is from Alex Ellis, from planning. And he sent me a PowerPoint presentation that he presented at my neighborhood meeting on Monday. And he identified the 11 priority intersections in the Safe Streets Plan. And then, it kind of explained to me that, again, Branch and Olmsted, where Michael DeMola in that area passed away, there is a demonstration grant from the federal government that I believe the city is looking to use those funds to improve traffic safety in that section of Branch Ave. And so I guess Shelley, Councilor Pierce and I will need to figure out what that will look like in terms of what the city response will be. but the demonstration grant, the intent of that, I believe, is to just essentially slow down vehicles using, different types of infrastructure. And so I'll be reach out to the city to see what that looks like. Probably Nate on my left here, get another email from me. But I feel like we should start there, but I'm just overwhelmed about, even the spreadsheet that you might have in front of you. It's a very long table. It goes back from 2007 to 2025. And, it's basically where should we fix stuff list first. It's like, it ranks streets by crash index, which is weighed by score. I don't want to hijack this task force. And so I figure we start in that section because it's also shared by Councilor Pearson. But there's a lot to be said, about that list. I think Smithfield Ave, Nelly intersection is pretty serious, but, it's just some food for thought in terms of that list. I think, if I had a magic wand, I'd make sure, all of those intersections are removed from that list, but, I'm open to questions or, but with your help, I'm hoping to tackle that section of Branch Ave and see what we can do together. So I'll stop there because I've been talking a lot.
No, that was amazing. Thank you, Councilwoman. And I was just excited to bring them in today and also wanted to like celebrate this task force and the great work you guys have been doing. These folks are seeing the efforts and the improvements that we've made on North Main, which again, are still very much in progress because there's so much left to do. And also want to see that as a model, and a big high five to Sean, because Sean and I did connect about Branch, to map out like that it is not actually a state road, the parts that connect to the highway to the state. So, when I think Kyle, did you just put your hand up a second ago or when?
Yeah. Say something. I appreciate the input from our councilors here, and I definitely hear them. I think one of the great things about this task force that made actionable steps real was that RSA. It was really a diagnostic type of document that helped us understand. We all knew North Main Street had problems. We all knew, those pedestrian fatalities happening there. We all experienced it, but to have that living, breathing document that really broke things down professionally and with recommendations for how to mitigate those things, I think was, for lack of a better phrase, like a Bible here. And it was like a how-to manual of how to approach things short-term, medium-term, long-term. And Rideout was obviously instrumental in helping fund that. Branch out to different states, not being in state road. But I think, it may be beneficial to look into potentially putting some resources to do a professional RSA at maybe even do a light one at key intersections and really have some professionals look at that and give us some recommendations, tackle priorities, and help us map out how do we do this efficiently. I feel like that's how this task force was able to springboard a lot of action, we're planning into action, and we are still using that as a roadmap to kind of guide what we're doing here today.
Can that be funded via CDBG funds or NIF?
I believe so. At least at the very least NIF, but potentially CDBG. That's just my recommendation. I think that was very useful here. I don't know if anyone's got input on that, but.
No, thank you, Nate, did you have one?
Yeah, I know we were talking about Branch Avenue. I mean, there's a lot of things that can be done for safety without the need for a lot of funding, but just a couple of things on the list that traffic engineering under their purview has some CIP money for safety. We also have the speed camera safety fund that we use, revenues from so a couple of things that we've initiated in Ward 4. We're doing a Charles Street road safety audit. I think you mentioned some of the work that planning has done in terms of mapping out throughout the city where the safety problems are based on accidents and severity of accidents.
Yep.
So that's probably gonna be moving forward.
Did you say it was a Charles Street?
Yeah. Yes. So, I think, RIDOT has shown some interest in helping that, because part of that Charles Street we're even looking at towards Mill Street too, because that's a lot of where the high accident areas, and actually going up to Ball Street. That's a scope right now. We're working with RIDOT and we're working with a consultant to kind of define the scope. So that's something that's probably gonna be moving forward.
Right, so just to clarify,
It's probably gonna be something that's gonna be shared in terms of
funding
funding,
cost
yeah,
for Charles Street.
yeah.
Do you, but that's because some of the jurisdiction on Charles Street is RIDOT's
Yes.
portion?
Yes,
Okay, I'm just thinking,
generally, yes.
so the section we're referring to, it sounds like RIDOT doesn't own that section. So would we have to fund, what's that?
Branch near EQ.
EQ.
Yeah, we're working, it doesn't, I don't think we're bound by the actual, maintenance responsibilities of a given road. There's gonna be some sharing between us and
Yeah,
RIDOT to get that done.
Yeah, just to clarify from a RIDOT perspective, the roadway itself is a city-owned road. The traffic signals, I believe at 146 and at 95 are RIDOT traffic signals. But in terms of like safety, we look at reduction of crashes on all roads, whether it's state or city. So we're always a partner.
Yeah.
It just, on the funding side of things, we try to assist where we can. Obviously,
Yeah.
I think we want to help the city with Charles Street. We don't have so much funding as well. So we just, in terms of distributing it around all communities, we always try to partner and spread out as much as we can. But I don't want, because we don't own the road doesn't mean we're hands off. We want to be involved.
No, I appreciate that,
Right.
thank you.
Yeah, so we're working that out right now, so, but we've gotten a proposal and we're just trying to see how we can fund it. There is money that the city has available also, so that's probably something that's gonna be moving forward. Just working out some of the details to get that progressing. The other thing I'm looking at your list is, this is actually in Ward 14, it's at the top of the sheet is, a few years ago, we did a RSA at Douglas and Admiral and also Douglas and River, so, in my CIP plan, I'm putting together a preliminary design, for Douglas and Admiral, so we can at least get an idea of what the cost might be for that.
Thank you.
So, it's not funded, the construction isn't funded, but there's possibilities to get that, but I think the first step is to really look at geometric changes. There's a need for signal replacement there for a lot of reasons, so, that's a couple of things,
Is
that
that
come
Ward
to mind.
14? I think that might just be the intersection of Admiral, Hawkins, Douglas. Is that Ward 14?
Well,
Little bit of
it's Douglas and
geography.
Admiral, I think Hawkins is a little further down.
Probably.
It's not,
Okay.
yeah.
I wonder if like a good next step, but let me know if you disagree, would be maybe the three counselors meet with RIDOT, Nate, and Kyle on like what the next steps of this could
Sure.
look like and some of the mapping out, and like, it sounds like RIDOT might have some resources or at least technical assistance to help with the work that sounds like it's in progress with Nate. And like, maybe at some point we could bring in Lieutenant Brown, because the police have been so helpful with
Yeah.
actually ticketing.
That becomes,
Oh, is that like a thing, because that's not your area?
yeah, so I stop, at, the highway.
You stop at the highway, okay.
That would be Rick Esposito, but I would say that one of the easy things that may work for you, the low hanging fruit really was lighting.
Lighting?
Lighting,
Yeah,
right? Jamie did a fantastic job with that. And that might be an easy solution in some of these crosswalks. It's just physically go out there at night and take a stocking, what lights are there, maybe you could reach out to, what's the name of the company?
Prism?
Prism, and maybe increase the lighting. We found like that was an easy fix in some places too.
I have the direct contact, and just have you that.
So, Kyle, if you could help us maybe bring RIDOT, Nate, and us together in the coming days, if that's possible.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Awesome, and then, the lighting issues.
Yeah, we can look into Prism as
Perfect.
well,
Thank
yeah,
you.
first.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of the RSA process, everybody's gonna be involved, so.
I'm sorry, Sean, is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't wanna keep calling you RIDOT, I'm sorry,
Oh, yeah.
calling you Sean.
I've been called a lot worse.
Sean is a gift from God. You can also call him that.
We thank you for the opportunity to come and
Thank
speak.
you.
It's very important to both myself and Councilor Roy, so it's a long time coming for both of us. It's
Yeah.
one of the top things that we talk about.
And whatever we've learned here, I think other task force members can jump in, but we'd love to make sure it's relevant for branch and that we're not losing more of our residents to traffic violence.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. Jamie, will you have something?
Yeah, just for a process going forward, so are we kind of expanding the scope of this task force?
That could be a question that we could consider if we want to expand the scope of the task force, or if we want to just like work with the counselors on like this model and how we go moving forward. So that's,
I guess one thought I had on that is like, as we are moving toward the kind of the design phase and eventually a construction phase on North Main Street, like the regular activities here are gonna wind down a little bit less as that process is happening, so it might naturally make sense to sort of expand the geographic scope. I don't know if we're at that point yet,
Jamie and I talked offline, before, and, about Charles Street. And, particularly Charles Street from, Worms, basically all the way up to like, where it intersects Adams Street.
Yeah.
Some of that is your ward,
some of that's
some of
my
my
word,
district.
yeah, and some of
It's
that's,
horrendous.
yeah,
I mean, that would be easy, like, that's very close.
yeah, that's like.
But the other model could be,
Yeah, so
reformulating this, like, as North Main Street progress is gonna start happening at some point. Maybe just looking at high impact streets, you know, and
yeah,
then,
that's part of the RSA that we're looking to move forward, that part of Charles.
like, you could retitle this group or rename it
Yeah.
and then say, hey, cause there's other streets that are just as bad. Elmwood
Yeah.
Avenue is horrendous, a part of Chalkstone Avenue, which is part of, I think, Councilwoman Peterson's ward, I think. I'm not really good with the word maps, but that's also horrendous. I used to live up there, that was my car post for a while. It's just as bad.
Yeah.
and I think this has already been observed here, you know, this thing that, and to give you credit, Sue, for having pulled this together, gotten this started, like, we found a formula that's like actually getting stuff done. I'd hate to see this wind down as North Main Street kind of resolves into a safer roadway, like, while we kind of have this team or in whatever, like, rolling form it takes, like, I can see this just persisting over the years, and kind of moving from area to area.
No, something to consider.
And that's kind of where I see safety improvements, like looking at corridors, and not just specific, spots, you gotta address the entire corridor, and Providence has a lot of high risk
Yeah,
ones, as you mentioned.
that sounds exciting. So I'm excited for next steps, with two of my very dear colleagues.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for bringing this up and for joining us. Did your meeting end? Are you?
Yeah, they brought me my bag, so I'm assuming.
The only other thing we had on the agenda for tonight was.
Excuse me, Chair, we didn't, enter this.
Oh, let's enter this one, okay. Can I please have a motion to enter this packet as exhibit one?
I'll make the motion to make this packet exhibit 1.
Second?
Second.
Yay, all in favor? Yay, any opposed?
I'm just gonna make sure that I didn't leave anything in.
Oh, yes, please.
Excuse me. Thank you very much.
Can you please read item 7 into the record?
Public comments.
Awesome. Did anyone sign up for public comment? We can also just call things over the time. Looks like, Michael, good to see you, friend.
How are we doing? Mike English. I have a kind of a few things. I've been studying North Main on different hours. One of the things is that I see the majority of is where the lights went up and on. It didn't cover where the problems are really at, where sometimes if you're a woman and you just don't like who's walking at you, you're questioning it, you cross the street, and then therefore that dark area puts them in great danger. So that said, one of my thoughts is that federal funding is sometimes hard and asking taxpayers to give more money, to sit there and actually create 2 benches, have it pop out, put more lighting, and have companies like Hasbro put a game there, donate it, have their names on it to promote their companies, but at the same time take away that expense to bottleneck some parts of those roads while making it beautified and lighting up that spaces over there. The second issue, and I know you fixed it in one part where Rochambeau is, most of Providence, and it's kind of sad, when they give you a right of way to walk,
Yeah,
they don't shut down all 4 ways.
yeah.
And they let you take a right. So that means that they think that they got more rights than a person that doesn't have anything around them. And I watch time after time, kids almost getting hit, elderly people getting almost hit. wheelchairs. And as of my email to you,
Yeah,
my brother got hit. He's in the middle of the road and not one person but the driver behind, that's an immigrant, sat there and tried to block him by his body, not even by a car. And that's pretty sad that we're in a society like that.
yeah,
But there are also a lot of streets, and right where McDonald's is a great part to say. It goes from 1 lane to 2 lanes, back to 2 lanes to 1 lane.
yeah,
And you just constantly see people wanting to hit each other.
yeah,
To me, I think if it's 1 lane the whole way, you shouldn't be changing it up because you're creating confusion. You've got a lot of Rhode Island, high school students and college students or new to the area right there coming through that way.
yeah,
And any more confusion than what it already is gonna get people hurt.
yeah,
I think we really need to think about more lighting, and like I said, the spots that are not there, but one last thing I'd like to say that's an easy fix. If you go where O'Reilly's is,
yeah,
there are many ambulances coming out.
yeah,
And instead of taking a fast right, going up, coming back, or taking a fast left, taking a right and going around, they go down the one-way street of North Main Street, directly head-on to cars. Not once, not twice, all day long. I sat there for almost 15, 16 hours. So
There's
close,
no cut through, were you saying, like?
there are
have
no
to-
cut-throughs. They go down, they go straight towards the red light, they go down the one-way direction, the opposite direction, and you've got people going head-on with them.
Yeah,
Someone's gonna get hurt.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
easy to take Fifth Avenue, I think it's Fifth Street,
Yeah, there
I
are.
think it is, that they wanna go down and
Yeah,
just cut that street right there and let them take a left there.
yeah,
Versus going directly head on. You're gonna kill the driver of the passenger or the ambulance, either which way, it's catastrophe to me. I think
Yeah,
it
yeah,
should
yeah.
stop.
no, that's a good, that's, yeah, that's, and I'm gonna look at Sean, but also Jess on for like the longer term process of like looking at that area. Thank you,
So, but that was what I took.
thank you, Michael.
Inside.
Arjuna.
I feel like now I'm here, so maybe, I don't know.
Okay, but you can still add if you had something you want to add.
I just wanted, with the sidewalks and the snow removal, I think it's not so much the rip stops, even though some of them are, I know it's difficult to get to, et cetera, but I'm just wondering about communication about between different, because it sounds like a lot of different people are responsible for this, and it's the snowstorm was kind of unprecedented in recent history, but it does impede the safety on North Main. So I'm just wondering whether there's something else that like communication wise that can be improved, even within the different government agencies that are, or parties that are responsible.
Yeah.
Minimum security prison, have work release and all that, go off the shelf, that would be probably the cheapest and easiest.
And I think thank you, Michael, I think I can also reach out, because I think it's a mix of like the private business owners, but then also parks, DPW, I think there's like a mix, and that might be what's causing some of the confusion, so I'll follow up with Director Point Bay, but also parks, and find out like how we're divvying up that work.
Oh, one last thing,
Okay.
Providence Safer Street Committee,
Mm,
that's what you should change it to.
Oh.
And just cover all of Providence, because every single street has major issues. And if you got the platform, I've seen this, and you could be even a testimony to it. My cousin Paul Fitzgerald created and cleaned up Fox Point as one of the officers in Providence Police.
mhm.
When he left, he took the plan with him. I don't think that's right, I think it should be in a committee that stays, and that way, when you fix one area, another area needs to be fixed. You have the map that's already been created, and doesn't need to be rethought.
Yeah, no, thank you for that, that's good feedback. Dylan, oh, yeah.
Quick follow-up thought on Arjuna's comment. A thing I learned in the recent hearing about the snow removal is that the city has this like inspector program where city employees during a storm are going around and kind of checking on what needs to be cleared, what has to be cleared. I'm wondering if there would be a way for like critical pedestrian infrastructure, like the bus shelters and the bus stops and maybe even on major corridors, just basic sidewalk access, like extending that program to the days after the storm to kind of catalog the stuff that's not getting cleared.
Yeah.
Because it seems like once the plowing stops, I think that system gets kind of demobilized.
Yeah.
But you might already have kind of the infrastructure in place to say like, we need some follow-up stuff after the fact. It might just be a way to like get the information together if it's falling under, you know, the businesses and RIPTA and different people, you know, clearing bus shelters or whatever.
Yeah, no, thank you for that, that's a good idea. Lee, is that something I should bring up to Director Fontaine, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, you know, there are inspectors on, any major snow event, and, you know, I think it's also, there is ordinances on people, budding properties are required to, so that could be another option too,
Yeah.
I don't know if that's being discussed.
Yeah, okay, I can follow.
That's a problem everywhere in the city.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's been.
And the problem is a lot of the people just throw it back in the road, which doesn't help.
Yeah.
Which is also against city ordinance.
Yeah.
Just throw it.
Yeah. The snow has been,
It's been
Yeah.
an issue.
It is melting.
yeah, today got to 40, it was melting, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
It's been, what a mess.
But we should keep talking about this after it melts, just so that
Yes,
like we don't find ourselves
100%.
next January saying, oh yeah, the snow, this is a
Yeah.
problem.
What a thing. Okay, Dylan.
Well, hi everyone, Dylan Giles, Providence Streets Coalition. I guess on the topic of snow removal, I feel like the thing that we're dancing around is that I would love to see like the city be responsible for removing snow on sidewalks. There's programs in other cities that work really well, like Burlington, Vermont, Rochester, New York. This is also a recommendation of the Safe Streets Plan. And I think, you know, relying on property owners to do the right thing clearly does not work. I think we're seeing that right now. So just something that I think we should be part of the conversation. But I wanted to update you on the plans that we have that Councilor Angela brought up earlier for the intersection, or I guess for the next phase of the Blue Traffic Calming partnership. We are going to partner the Blue grant with an ARP grant, and we're targeting that intersection of Doyle where Charles Gate is. There's so much pedestrian activity between, you know, the Doyle path side and Charles Gate. And I think there are, it's just such a massive intersection, and so there's a lot of opportunity for to narrow some of the turning radiuses. So I think one of the things that will be a component of that is closing or making the right turn lane next to Jerry's when you're coming down the hill onto the street. A right turn only lane, because right now it is a through lane to go left or straight or left onto North Main. And that's something that's actually already been approved by the STC, so it shouldn't need approval. And it should be, you know, I think it'll be part of our plans. Right now, our current installation is covered in snow, and the flex posts, I think when the snow melts, are not going to look very happy. And the materials that were used there, I think were not the best, and I think we need to rethink the materials that we use in these applications, because they pop out if you just pull them, you just pull them out. So Nate, you know, certainly.
You talking about branch in North Main?
What's that?
You talking about branch in North Main?
No, benefit in North Main,
A
like.
benefit in North Main, that's what it is. You had to say benefit.
So yeah, we'd love to look at other options if that's possible, or kind of the next measures. And yeah, just thank you to this task force. I think Councilor Peterson and Roy has kind of really really identified how successful this group has been. I really do hope that the scope of the group can expand, you know, to branch out. I think it makes sense geographically. The whole city, you know, certainly. We do have the Green Complete Streets Advisory Council that Rosie sits on, and it's a monthly meeting that you can bring concerns to as well. But yeah, for the purpose of this body, I would love to see the scope expanded.
Cool, thank you, Dylan. Jason.
Hey, hi everybody, my name is Jason Castan. I am a Ward 3 resident, I live on Olney Street, and I'm also a dietitian, and I have a practice on Broadway, West End, right around Peter's spot. And well, I have a several things, because we've got a fun like neighborhood group of like 60+ people. So they knew I was coming, and so they sent some stuff my way. Is that okay if I just kind of read through?
Yeah, you can read through.
Okay, cool. I'll also preface this by saying, like, the way that I personally think about this stuff really comes from the sort of like public health approach, and also thinking about like structural determinants of health. We have a lot of these very like specific pointed pain points, and I guess I would love to kind of keep in mind that as we're frustrated with people that don't always stop at stop signs or are not observing the traffic speeds, and trying to find a balance of enforcement, to also remember that everyone's nervous system right now is like super overclocked. It's like ICE is going around still kidnapping people. Tens of thousands of people are getting kicked off of SNAP, Medicaid, like the state agencies themselves are all confused, a lot of like miscommunication and undercommunication. So I just want to keep all that in mind as I'm reading very specific things about snow and stuff. Okay, the first one was a question about fixing utilities such as streetlights more efficiently or faster. And the person said, their example was the stoplights by the entrance of 146 weren't working for a week. So that was number one. And then.
So on Charles Street?
Yeah, it's on Charles.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so that was one. And then this person said in the summertime, the stoplights on Randall and whatever that intersection is right by the hospital. I guess those are both about streetlights. So I don't know if those are.
They talk traffic signals or street?
They said streetlights.
Probably the traffic.
Those can also be put in through, like, if you're communicating back to the group, those can be put in real time in 311, so we can see them and address.
I think they have, and I say,
Okay.
and I have some personal ones that I've been working on with Tim and my friends at 311, and like doing like traffic studies and stuff, and they keep getting resolved. But I'll bring that up because they're definitely not resolved.
Yeah.
That's
So,
It does get looked at.
What is it?
It does get looked at. I mean, there are certain traffic signals in the city that are city maintained and some of the state, well, you know, most are the city. But, the 301 ones do get, it depends on what the situation is.
Sure.
So, and sometimes it's a matter of the power is out and we're waiting for, I think on Charles Street, we were waiting a few days for Rhode Island Energy to restore power. For some reason, they were really slow in restoring power there. But it's various reasons, so.
Cool, and I'll just emphasize for 311 to make sure they're doing it. Okay, clean up, this is like familiar territory. Cleaning out proper lanes from snow and city-owned sidewalks. So a bunch of examples here. One of them is, and Councilwoman Anderwall and I have talked about this, the Camp and Doyle mysterious who owns after MLK. And that little like, what did we say it was technically called? Whatever that little like green.
Oh, that's owned by public property.
Right, so it's owned by public property, so it's the city. I know there's the priority list from DPW that we all learned about from the hearing, but that never, ever gets salted, shoveled. The folks who are in charge of the MLK stuff, they stop right where their line is.
Yeah.
Fair. So not just this storm, literally never gets taken care of.
Okay.
So we're all hanging out in the streets as cars are flying down in front of the school. So that's one of them. The north, so we didn't talk about this specific one, I think, unless I missed it, but yeah, I mean, we keep talking about the island, but the bus stop in front of Whole Foods across to the Providence Center, so that's one that's still not finished yet. I mean, and I bike, so I'm going around the opposite way of traffic to get through. People are just not, I don't even know where people are crossing right now. So that's one. Other sort of like for the future, again, things that literally never get done in the 3.5 years that I lived here. The Amtrak sidewalks, that's opposite the State House. Yeah, so that just never gets done.
So we're talking about snow removal, right, on the sidewalks?
Yeah, like ice.
When you
snow.
say not get done, I can't.
Yeah.
But that's federal run, the state can't get off.
No, I know, I'm just saying like, someone got good, but it never gets done. And Station Row. they're also responsible for the like, if we wanna go sledding down, you know, towards North Main. So again, thinking about like whose responsibility is, I appreciate that it's federal ground, but like,
All the rest of it.
we gotta do something. Like, we can't just like for 3.5 years never have it, here for safety. One other point that I had a question about, as far as snow removal that we learned in the DPW hearing was, it seemed that after a number of days or whatever, they decided they were only gonna be doing evening snow removal, as far as like bringing the plows out to avoid traffic congestion. But to just like reiterate the point, we're now almost 2 weeks out, and I bike, I walk, I take the bus, there's plenty of, you know, anecdotally, plenty of time during the day where traffic is very, very light. And it feels like if we have the resources, they could be used during the day if they're theoretically kind of working around the clock still to get through that priority list.
Yeah.
I'm wondering why we're not sending.
I'm not directly involved in snow removal, but I'm pretty sure the highway crews are out during the day. I think they concentrated with a little more different equipment, like front end loaders and stuff at night, when parked cars weren't there and so forth, so. I think it wasn't just exclusively at night, but I can't tell you that for sure because I'm not involved.
Yeah.
And I don't wanna like cut it off, but this is specifically about North Main. So some of these are less relevant to this task force to just, not to
Sure.
cut it off, but
Yeah,
like, I can't respond to that, I don't know.
that's okay. Again, I guess it still involves North Main because we're
Okay.
talking about bike lanes and sidewalks
Yeah, yeah,
and around schools, so that's all for snow removal. Is there anyone that can respond to that about like snow
The
removal?
snow removal is like outside of the purview of this task force, but I can follow up with you as your council person after the fact.
Cool, okay. One other 311 thing about, again, it's like extending off of North Main, but a safety traffic issue. The Camp Brown only intersection, where we've got the Baptist Church, MLK going across to Oak High. That's been something that's just been resolved, even though we have people flying from North Main to Oak Street. It gets worse in the summer. It's a special kind of worse now with the snow stuff, but.
Are you saying the issues like speeding has like a cut?
Yeah, because we only have a two-way stop on Camp and Brown, but going from like North Main to Hope or vice versa. Yes, I know there's the speed trap during school hours, but it doesn't, people aren't paying attention after school hours because it's not clocking, so.
Yeah, if you want, I can talk to you about that. We've studied that a few times, so. For an all-way stop, so.
Yeah, is there an update? Because it just said resolved on, right?
So we actually tested it out with a temporary stop.
Yeah.
On Olney Street.
I was watching.
Yeah. The result of that, during the afternoon peak, there was a significant backup on Olney. So that kind of, we're hesitating to put an all-way stop because of that reason. So we can possibly look at some other measures there to improve safety, but there was a little bit of a negative impact on that for an all-way stop there, so, yeah.
Yeah.
In cars sliding backwards too.
What's that?
Because they have cars sliding backwards.
Well, that's what's sliding backwards,
Well, no, it's a snowstorm, so if you have that red line on a snowstorm, it's gonna possibly slide backwards.
yeah, I mean, that's, but I mean, what we noticed, it wasn't during it was when we put a temporary stop there in Olney.
No, I know what you did.
Yeah, and then it just, during the afternoon peak, the traffic backed up significantly, so, it was a delay issue there, so.
Yeah, I would love to like talk to you more about that, just so we can kind of find more creative ways to.
Sure.
Make sure people are, because
Yeah.
it's pretty unsafe.
Right.
That's where I've been for 3.5 years, so I get to watch it all the time. Okay, so last North Main thing someone brought up, and I think this was from one of the climate plans, which is like a climate idea in general. Are there, and maybe this is like a PVD tree thing, but adding more trees as far as like heat sink mitigation? Is that?
Yeah, so, the Summit Neighborhood Association does do a regular tree planting, and Sherry wanted to join us today, she was just texting me, she couldn't make it tonight, as the president of SNA. And we did through them plant some trees on North Main in their last go round, and they've been prioritizing that, like the Camp Street, Mount Hope neighborhood for the tree planting. SNA does an amazing job with the tree, just shout out SNA who's not here, but the Summit Neighborhood Association does like way more tree plantings than like anyone else in the city. It's kind of stunning. And there were some on North Main, the last go round, I remember I planted 2 of them, and the city forester like protected us with his big truck because it's very dangerous to have your butt sticking out onto North Main while you plant. So I think that's probably an option, and that would be, Sherry helps organize that. Sherry and, it used to be, Emily, another person who helps out, but Sherry would be a good person to chat with. Dylan, did
Do you mind if I ask? Yeah, we actually have a really good tree canopy ordinance for private property. If private property has and Jessica, you can weigh in if I'm getting this incorrect. If private property has a buffer against like a public sidewalk, and there's a parking lot is required to have a certain amount of tree canopy, and that buffer is required to have trees every 25 feet. The problem with North Main is there's not a lot of buffers.
Yeah.
And there's no incentive for any of the property owners to create buffers. But one little tiny victory was well, I wouldn't call it a victory, because it started with the Pep Boys cutting all the street trees down. And there were 2 big ones shading that R-line stuff. And so that really incensed me. They cut all of the trees down in the park. But they were now in violation of the ordinance. So I reached out to the office, they sent somebody out there. They inspected, they got to the prosecution phase, I guess. I'm not really sure what exactly all that entails. But Pep Boys ended up planting all the trees and coming to compliance for the ordinance. So I think it's really important that people know that ordinance exists.
Yeah.
But it's only enforceable as much as there are, the buffers are there. And a lot of places just have their parking lots paved right up to the sidewalk, so.
A lot of that probably has to do too with when those developments were built and when the zoning ordinance implemented that. Because if those things were done before the zoning ordinance, then they're grandfathered, they don't have to adhere to the zoning ordinance. So just throwing that out, a lot of the development on North Main was likely before that became.
But if they approve a parking lot or something with that, they have to come into compliance?
Theoretically, yes, but again, enforcement, there are a lot of different, I don't know the ins and outs of that, but theoretically.
And on North Main, you gotta be careful because the trees are half the problem with why people get hit. Cause it's creating the shadows and the darkness in the streets. That makes the street lights not shine on the street. You know, cut some of the trees, you're gonna create light and possibly reduce some accidents. I got it on the side street, so when it's in houses, but when you're going on main drives like that, you gotta kind of think through the wall, I would think. So the trees are becoming more of an obstacle than an outlaw.
Jason, did you have more on your list for North Main?
I think that was everything, yeah.
Awesome, thank you. Kevin?
Hello, my name is Kevin Exington. I'm here representing Blue Rhode Island. We're happy to fund the planting at the intersection of Benefit and North Main.
Love
And
you.
not just because of the great flowers, and that's what we're here to do, is help get flowers planted in public places. But as you all know, as well as anybody, the terrific traffic calming effect that had. And so we're excited about the impact that had. I guess not just I guess it's a pilot of sorts, because I'm not sure we've done it anywhere else. In our work, absolutely. So we're excited to do more of that, and been talking with the streets folks and with the counselor on some potential projects, and we do have a grant application out now. So Dylan mentioned it, you go to bloomrhodeisland.org. Click the grants page. The grants are open through the end of the month. We have grants up to $10,000 for nonprofits. We also give mini grants out to $500 to individuals because there are a lot of traffic circles out there that need love. We have found anecdotally through 2 years of this grant making that trees, flowers, plantings, sightlines aside, slow traffic down. And that wasn't really something we expected, but we're hearing from people that are planting in front of community gardens, And in places, you know, like that, like those on the south side of Providence, that people are taking a minute and tapping their brakes. So we're excited to do more of that, and also just wanted to come by and say hi, and look forward to doing more.
Yay,
Thank you.
Yay. Awesome, that is all the public comment we have. I'm gonna have my own public comment, who is not a member of the public, and say a big thank you to Jess, who is leaving public service, and we're all very sad about it, we're also really happy for her in her next steps. And just wanna, thank her for everything, oh my God, everything she's done for the city, but particularly for all the work here on the task force over the last several years, so thank you, Jess.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's been great. I'll miss you all. I'll still be an engaged resident.
Yeah,
I'm not going too far.
Provide public comment on all the things.
Be on the other side now.
You're welcome all the
Especially
time.
award three.
I'm in, oh God, I should know what word I'm in. Joy and Ryan's word.
You're Ward 5.
I don't know the number.
Awesome. Well, if there's no further comment and we've done everything on the agenda, can I please have a motion to adjourn?
To adjourn.
Second, all in favor? Excellent. Thank you all so much. We will reconvene soon. Lots to do.
Thursday is never.
Oh my gosh, there's no, oh my God, so many. I can't imagine, but it's been like,
Yeah.
so much.
It's like kind of we call the people
It might be okay.
in the city, so I need to just send out.